All right, so let's take a look at the different types of variables that we can have here inside of a blueprint. So right now, we've already seen a string. A string is a collection of letters, one after another, that we use to make text or words. If I click on the little drop-down, I'll get a list of the other types of variables that we can create. The most common ones include a Boolean variable. A Boolean variable is either true or false. It can't have any other value. We're going to use Booleans to do a lot of our logical decisions when we need to check if something is true or false. Is the player alive? Do I have enough ammo? Is my score greater than 1,000? These are all questions that are yes or no, true or false questions. The next important value that we can look at is an integer. An integer is a whole number. We're going to use integers a lot when we need to count things, when we need to keep track of how many things occur, or we need to look at numbers kind of one at a time as a whole number. A floating point variable, on the other hand, is a variable with a decimal point. So an integer is a whole number. There's no decimal to it. But in a way, there is a decimal on any integer. So if I were to just look at, say, the number 3, the decimal point is there. It's just at the end of our number, so we don't write it down. Any integer, the decimal point's always going to be at the end. It's never going to be at a different position. However, if I have a number like 3.14 or 7.9 or 52.8, that decimal can appear at a different place inside of that list of digits. So if I have a 10-digit number, that decimal point could float. It can be anywhere inside the list of numbers. We're going to call it a floating point number or a float variable. A vector is going to become a very important variable that we're going to use later on. A vector is represented by 3 numbers, 3 floats, but it is best to think of a vector as a direction and a magnitude. So I like to think of vectors as pirate directions. So when a pirate gives you directions, he'll tell you to go 4 paces north, and then 8 paces east, then 6 paces to the south, and then look up, and 4 feet above you will be the thing you're looking for. So all of the directions that are granted to you by a pirate have a direction, which direction to move in, and how far to move in that direction. A rotator is a 3D rotation. It allows us to rotate an object in 3-dimensional space. So we're going to be able to tell the object how far to yaw, which is to rotate kind of around the top, up and down. So if you were to look side to side, we'll tell it how much to pitch, which is how much to look up and down. And we'll tell it how much to roll, which is, doing a barrel roll. And then lastly, we can have a transformation. A transformation is actually a number of these things kind of put together. It's a translation, which is a position in space, which is stored as a vector. It's a rotation, which is stored as a rotator. And it's a scale. It's how much we're going to scale the object in 3D. These are the important types of variables that we're going to use, but one other piece of information is really important here. Remember when we made our blueprint door? When we made our blueprint door, we were telling Unreal that a door is a type of object. Just like a Boolean is a type of variable, or an integer is a type of variable, or a vector is a type of variable, we can find that if we search, a door is now a type of variable. So as we get more advanced inside of our scripting, we're going to start referring to objects that we created, right? So here's my blueprint door. I could make an object reference, which is a variable that holds one of these doors inside of it. So as we get further along, we'll start to really understand how the objects that we're creating act as class types that we can then make variables. So those are our important variable types, the variable types that we need to get a good understanding of in order to understand the basics of Blueprint. As time goes on, we'll learn more and more variable types and how they work and how to use them. But these variable types are enough for us just to get started.